Hyper energy. Ladies, gentlemen, sentient houseplants, and anyone who snuck a telescope into the cinema. Welcome to SpaceX versus NASA, the battle for space control. This is where bureaucracy meets bravado, where lab coats duel with hoodies, and where we decide who gets dibs on the moon's best parking spot. Buckle up, or I will buckle you up. Opening bit, neighbors from hell, but adorable. Picture two neighbors. NASA is the grandparent who built the neighborhood, knows where the fuse box is, and has a meticulously labeled toolbox. SpaceX is the kid who built a roller coaster out of a pickup truck and now sells tickets. Both love rockets. One files forms, the other writes YOLO on the flight plan. Which one wins? Depends on whether you like your space served with tea or nitro cold brew origin stories, salty edition. NASA, founded 1958, OG cosmic babysitter. They put humans on the moon, winced at budget meetings, and perfected the polite sigh. SpaceX, founded 2002, step-sibling to the internet's attention span. They said reusable boosters, and then proceeded to land things on barges like it's a toddler's sandbox miracle. One is history. One is a viral highlight reel with rockets tech talk, but make it ridiculous. NASA builds spacecraft like they're assembling a cathedral of logic. Slow, deliberate, and labeled in 3 languages. SpaceX builds rockets like they design sneakers. Limited drops, influencer-tier photo ops, and boosters that come home for the holidays. NASA is precision and patience. SpaceX is iteration and audacity. One's a museum piece, the other's a nightclub that occasionally explodes politely. Reusability flex. Reusability is SpaceX's flex. They land boosters with the swagger of someone parallel parking a bulldozer in a Prius spot. NASA's approach is more, we'll build it to last a century and then put it behind velvet ropes so kids can whisper to it respectfully. Both valid. One just wins the most dramatic comeback award. Money, bureaucracy, and political tap dancing. Money talk. NASA's budget process is an epic Greek tragedy involving Congress, interpretive committees, and emotional support paperwork. SpaceX has investors, billionaire tweets, and a business plan that reads like a manifesto for controlled chaos. NASA needs approvals like a medieval scribe. SpaceX needs Wi-Fi and a willingness to iterate until someone yells, "That worked?" Culture clash. Hoodies versus lab coats. Culture check. NASA engineers smell faintly of peer review and hot coffee. SpaceX engineers smell faintly of burnt solder and adrenaline. NASA says slow and steady. SpaceX says fast, test, explode, learn, repeat. Both are brilliant. Both will lecture you on safety while simultaneously high-fiving after a daredevil landing. It's like watching a tuxedo and a leather jacket fight for the same parking spot, and then form a band. Moon, Mars, and property value. Real estate update. NASA wants to go back to the moon with a clipboard, safety harness, and a tasteful research agenda. SpaceX wants to send you a pre-order link for Mars plots with a free commemorative t-shirt. NASA, let's build sustainable infrastructure. SpaceX, let's build a settlement, tweet about the commute, then sell artisanal oxygen. Both dream big. One will bring the IKEA instructions, who plants the flag? Flags, PR, and podcast-ready grandstanding. NASA plants a flag with a footnote and an annotated bibliography. SpaceX plants it with limited-time merch and a lens flare. Which one gets to plaster logos on the next crater? Depends on whether your brand survives peer review or influencer culture. Collaboration, friends in vitro. Plot twist, it's not a blood sport. NASA and SpaceX are frenemies who share custody of humanity's future. NASA brings institutional knowledge, safety culture, and legal permits. SpaceX brings launch cadence, hustle, and a PR machine that thinks every booster landing is the Super Bowl halftime show. They argue, they tweet, they politely sue in pivot tables, then they strap an astronaut to a rocket and high-five in the parking lot. The publicity wars. PR is a battlefield. NASA posts rigorous papers. SpaceX posts cinematic slow-mo. NASA releases charts. SpaceX releases hero shots with empowering synth music. One gets citations and textbooks. The other gets trending topics. Want to inspire a kid? NASA will teach them how to measure the cosmos. SpaceX will get them to stare at a launch livestream and whisper, "I want that hoodie." Risk, safety, and who rides the roller coaster. Risk management. NASA treats risk like an old, wise tortoise. SpaceX treats risk like a very enthusiastic ferret. NASA defines acceptable failure curves and writes them in indelible pen. SpaceX says, let's test it, and if it survives, we'll make a montage. Both care about astronaut safety, one more ceremonially, the other with a lot of caffeine-fueled late nights and fervent Slack messages. Who wins? So, who wins the battle for space control? Short answer, the grand spectacle of human curiosity. NASA wins when the mission demands rigor, decades of planning and institutional continuity. SpaceX wins when speed, risk-taking, and theatrical metrics accelerate progress. The real winner is anyone who loves rockets because between them we get science, spectacle, and more dramatic launch montages than a Marvel movie convention. Obnoxious but heartfelt. If you giggled, snorted, or spat out a beverage, hit that like button like it owes you money. Subscribe for more cosmic chaos and drop your allegiance in the comments. Team NASA, ancient wisdom, or Team SpaceX, chaotic momentum. I'll be there arguing and fighting with my tiny plush rocket, Bobby Booster. Prove me wrong. Mic drop. This has been SpaceX versus NASA, the battle for space control. Tune in next time when we discover whether astronauts prefer cold pizza or ethically sourced space ham. Good night, atmosphere. Try not to get jealous.